Good morning, everyone. Nice to see so many participants tuning into Expedite's event today. I'm Julia, and my agency is Brand 360. We focus on building brand growth through strategy and digital marketing. So we help brands with customer acquisition and also customer retention. And you know the saying that it costs at least 5 times as much to acquire a new customer than it is to retain an existing one. And in today's hyper-competitive world of e-commerce, understanding your customer at every key touch point and personalizing their purchase experience can really boost your growth. Here today to talk about how you can use cross-selling and upselling as part of your e-commerce strategy, and to share more about their experiences. Today we have Zeeshan, the Head of Marketing for Lego Malaysia Resort, and Ravi Shankar, the Chief Growth and Digital Officer for AirAsia. Let me start by asking both panelists, what percentage of budget or what priority in your e-commerce stack do you dedicate to cross-selling and upselling in your organization? And please
Um,
share.
yeah,
Okay.
sorry, Julia, just to interject right there. Pardon me. Do you have a mic by any chance? Because you're sounding a little bit soft right now.
Okay. I'll bring it in a little bit. Is
Okay.
that Okay. So what priority or budget do you dedicate to cross-selling and upselling in your organization? And please share how this has helped you retain loyal customers and boost your revenue. Can we start with Jishan?
All right. Thanks, Julia. Okay, very interesting question, and absolutely, we want loyal customers and we want to boost revenue. Of course, at the moment, things are a bit of in a sticky situation because our sector is closed. Legoland is closed at the moment. While we wait for things to get better in terms of the pandemic. But I mean, again, going back to this question, right? So definitely, the whole process of upselling and cross-selling are critical to us because as Legoland Malaysia Resort, we have products which are both interrelated, and we also have products which are tiered, right? So I mean, just to give you a brief overview and for the benefit of the audience as well, we have two core products. One is obviously our theme park, water park, and our aquarium experience, and then we also have a themed hotel, right? So it's the hotel and the rest of the parks. So basically, I mean, in the parks, we have like two kinds of products. We have an annual pass, which gets people access for a year, and we have a one-day access as well. So definitely, when it comes to the parks, right, I think the whole upselling uh, bit is critical for us because people who, let's say, want to visit Legoland for a day, right? We have. I mean, we've made it part of the, their experience when they're on the e-commerce site or the web store, so to speak, where they can change their day pass to an annual pass. I mean, so that's something that really, I mean, we do that day in and day out because it's absolutely important for us to get that customer in and for them to become an annual pass holder. So I mean, in terms of the percentage of priority, I would say that that is something that we apply across all our digital marketing comms as well. So I mean, at one stage of the spectrum, we try to tell people on what are the benefits of an annual pass, and when they're actually making that transaction, we also try to get them to understand if they are not choosing that annual pass product. So I mean, upselling is absolutely critical for us. And then moving very quickly to cross selling as well, right? I mean, cross selling is again about if they are booking a hotel stay, we kind of tell them that have you also selected your park pass, like the theme park pass or the water park ticket, and stuff like that. So both of them are like really part of our customer experience when they're making the transaction. And again, in terms of what are the effects of this, of course we have been able to to build a significant annual pass database. I mean, in terms of customers, so we have a big chunk of our customers who are annual pass holders, right? And of course that gives them that value of being able to come back to the resort. They enjoy certain other exclusive benefits like discounted hotel stays, discount on Lego products, and so on. So it's something that we do very consistently. And I would say that maybe close to half of our marketing efforts, right, are in the areas of ensuring that people are upsold the annual pass products. So yeah, that's really from how we work at Legoland.
I have to say, Zeeshan, that I'm a happy annual pass holder, and we can't wait to get back to Legoland when as soon as we're all safe and able to do so. So 50% of your budget into upselling and cross-selling, that's a very good figure. And database is also key to mining further insights from there.
Absolutely.
What about Ravi?
Hey, thanks for having me here. Right, so it's good to have good to see so many people in the participants list. Yeah, I was just talking to you about this, right? So you chose two businesses who are struggling about cross selling and upselling, and this is a good thing because we just don't have a lot of cash to acquire new people right now, right? So like for us, like Jishan was just saying, upselling doesn't have to be if you're spending any budget, then there'll be some significant part of the money going in there. But at the moment, upselling, if you already have access to that customer via different channels, be it an app push notification, be it an email database, be it an SMS or something, right? So my strategy right now is to not spend anything at the moment just for cross-selling and upselling. Just use our internal database channels to reach out to them and stuff, right? So I'm not sure if you guys are following the news and about AirAsia. So AirAsia is now a super app, and we are more than an airline right now, right? So we have three different verticals. One is the travel vertical, where we have AirAsia flights, and we also launched the new product AirAsia OTA in Indonesia, where you can buy flights from anywhere to anywhere. It's just not an airline flights, AirAsia airline flights anymore. You can fly domestic of US, or if you're in Europe, you're traveling for Euro 2021, you can still buy flights from AirAsia, right? So we launched that product in Indonesia. We are launching that across, right? And we also have hotels. You can book hotels. We also have Snap. That's our travel business. And then we have our e-commerce business, which is very popular right now, where we have food delivery, we have groceries delivery. We are launching e-hailing pretty soon. And then we have a beauty product, which is a beauty e-commerce website, right? So that's our e-commerce pillar. And then we have our finance pillar, where we have our loyalty programs, we have our branded credit cards, we have financial products, marketplace, and we have big pay, the virtual bank, right? So these are the three spectrums. And if you think about it, cross-sell and upselling at this moment is very crucial for us. It's because you have a database of airline people, and you are cross-selling and upselling something that they did not sign up for, right? And it's very crucial for you to reach out to them personally, and not bombard them with a lot of messaging, and then cross-sell and upsell. So we went on and figured out quite a few strategies to reach out to those relevant audience, right? For example, when we started our beauty business, we know it's age and gender is the basic ones, right? So we were traveling. What we're trying to figure out was how many people actually fly often in Korea and buy a lot of products in the duty free, and a lot of buy duty free products and stuff, right? So and then we started sending them beauty Korean products, and then the take up was amazing. So to answer your question, right, so the budget at the moment is close to zero for obvious reasons. So we are actually using our own database to cross-sell and upsell at the moment.
Well, that's very sage advice. And I didn't know AirAsia already has so many verticals. Your title says AirAsia, but there's so much more to it than just flights, right? And whatnot. So, okay. So understanding how and personalizing the message, personalizing the communication, not just bombarding them with cross-selling and upselling. Got it. We have a question from the audience. Chen Hao is asking, will upselling affect the conversion rates for e-commerce, and how can we balance upselling and cross-selling to make sure that the transaction, the overall order size is growing, yet also remain or grow the conversions rate. So we want conversion, but we also want higher ticket price. Zeeshan, you want to take that question?
Um, Yeah, sure. I mean, absolutely. I think the whole upselling part, I don't think it really affects the conversion rate in a negative manner, right? Actually, if you're able to upsell the right products, right? I mean, the right value is there for the customer. I think that actually makes your conversion, your basket size definitely increases. Now, whether that conversion rate increases or remains the same, because anyways, when let's say, depending on what part of the funnel are you getting that customer in, right? I mean, obviously, if you are trying to upsell even before they get into that consideration, or that they're really evaluating the product phase, I think absolutely over there it might not really make that that uptick might not happen on the conversion rate. But if you're looking closer to the transaction process, like, I mean, something that we also do, right? We don't want to tell the customer that there are 10 things to choose from at this stage, but once they zero in on a product, they are close to buying it, they're adding it to cart. And that's really where you need to pick up that relevance, right? Saying that, okay, you bought this, now how about upgrading to, let's say, this, which gives you even more benefit or even more value. So I think the second part of that, the higher basket size or the higher product value or revenue, that can go up. Conversion rate, I think that shouldn't be the only criteria to measure success in this case anyways. So I mean, that's my perspective.
Got it. So Ravi, earlier on, you also mentioned that you wanted AirAsia personalizes the message for cross-selling and upselling on services to make sure that we're not bombarding them with too many irrelevant things, right? And for AirAsia, probably, and for a lot of other businesses as well, upselling is a key revenue generator, right? So, in your opinion, how much is too much? Or would it be a case as what Chen has said? Would have you ever experienced a case where you cross-sell or upsell and it actually um, causes the potential customer to abandon cart entirely? Has there ever been such a, because they're so frustrated with the customer experience, is there too much? Can there be too much cross-selling and upselling?
So there are two different ways of answering that question, right? Or we can actually split that question into two, because the cross-selling upselling happen in two different places. One is through your marketing channels, be it an ad, be it an email, or be it anything else. And the crossing and upsell happens on the website or the app when and during the purchase process, right? So the question of abandonment will only the negative effect of so-called negative effect of abandonment happens only in the website when you bombard them with too much, right? I wouldn't say they would, because like what Zeeshan was saying, it's you only try to upsell during the cart, right, during the checkout process at the end of it. And when you're already end of the, you already have the intent of buying, right? So when you bombard there with too much, it might just affect the conversion rate, but you just have to find the right design, and you just have to do multiple experiments to figure out what is the right place to upsell and cross sell the product. Is it on top? Is it in between? How obvious it should be, how sneaky you should be, and there is a limit to it, right? So and if that's the case, you figured out what's the ideal journey in that space. Nothing is too much, right? So but you just have to have your focus groups, you just have to have your A/B testing done, you just have to have your test results and have reached your significance, so for that to actually figure out what's the best price or the best place to do it, right? And the other part of it is at the marketing channels of cross-selling marketing channels. At the channel level, the negative impact is not abandonment. The negative impact is unsubscribing to your email, or hiding your ad, or turning off the notification, right? That message is more crucial. That personalization and that testing, that number is more crucial than on the website. In website, they just abandon cart, and if they do any of these things like unsubscribing or turning off notification, you lose the customer, right? The only way to again talk to them is to pay Google or Facebook, right? So uh, so that's the reason you have to be more careful in terms of the upsell and cross sell communication rather than in the website, right? So again, what is too much on the communication side of things? Again, digital marketing is one of those channels that gives you feedback, right? So you might look at the past data and figure out what's the frequency of causing the unsubscription, right? What is the frequency of causing hiding the ad? So how much is too much is the answer you already have in there, right? So you just have to dig your own data and figure out how much is too much. Of course, if you can't really analyze everything on your own, you might have some rules and machine learning for them to throw out the numbers out there, but you just have to start somewhere.
So benchmarking, testing, more testing, and learning as you go along.
Correct.
On what optimum level, so we don't cause the unsubscribes and we don't cause the abandoned carts to happen and lose that customer forever, right? Because then we're gonna have to restart that customer acquisition process all over again. Got it. Kevin has a question for Zeeshan. As the new and future, the new normal that we're facing now, during and after the pandemic, when that happens, right? For example, people might not want to travel in big groups. What is your future forecast and take on this? And what are the strategies for, do you have any strategies taking things from offline to online?
I mean, yeah, okay, interesting question, and I mean, we have gone through this a few times, right? I mean, internal discussions and also at other industry forums. I mean, you see that at the end of the day, absolutely, we can provide some teaser content. We can tease people with the experiences that we have, but there is absolutely no way of replicating that physical on-ground theme park, ride experience that you go through. So I mean, we have been doing that. Of course, I mean, I mean, you have to understand that we have never been content producers, right? We are more of an experience creator on ground. So we have also, kind of struggled. I mean, Ravi already spoke about the challenges in terms of acquiring new customers, even having the capacity to build a funnel, right? You need to start with awareness first. So you don't have money to create that part. So I think what we have understood is that content plays a part in getting people excited, giving them sneak previews. I think the previous panel was also talking about this. But I think on our side, what we can do is we can make sure that all our safety procedures and SOPs are implemented on ground, but people still have to travel to the park. But we have made some of those capacity changes, right? I mean, so obviously ride capacities have changed, the way people queue up has changed, those things have changed. But uh, fortunately, it still has to be an experience that is best enjoyed while you're there, right? So the virtual experience is not a substitute for this. But in terms of gamification, in terms of interacting with some of the Lego IPs that we have, yes, we are creating some of those parallel experiences, but nothing that replaces why you should be there in the first place. So that's my perspective on this.
So I guess reel them in and remind them of the experience through a virtual roller coaster, but then get them there to enjoy the real thing, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh, fantastic! I can't wait to be back. Ravi, moving back to the question, the database point that you made earlier. Kevin is also asking. He agrees. Database is very valuable to every business. But what happens to those businesses that did not have this foresight to build a database, to build a community earlier, or those that don't sell direct to consumer? How would you suggest that they digitize and sort of retain the customers that they have if they have no database?
I mean, if they have the database, then what's the who are they retaining with, right? So, I mean, see, for businesses, for SMEs mostly, right? They get too many suggestions, right? Build your brand first, build your database first, right? But at the end of the day, they have to survive. They have to sell first, right? So, I I mean, this might be a bit more of a generic answer, and then the views of me might be a bit more different. It's just that if you are an SME who are at an early stage with less cash, who wants to focus on getting sales, put whatever money that you have, put on Google and Facebook, and get generate sales, right? I'm not gonna come here and say build database or improve your website experience and stuff. Your website should be good enough to make them a decent purchase experience, right? They should complete it smoothly without any failures. And whatever the pool of money that you have, instead of trying to build an amazing social media page and building a lot of spending a lot of money on creating that visual content, uh, will take up a lot of your cost. But if you don't amplify that with your ads, and if you don't capture those funnel of people who are searching for you in Google, and then and you're not present there because you're new business, right? So you're not going to rank that easily. So the bitter truth here is you have to spend at the beginning if you're a business who is struggling, who needs sales right now. And in that process you have a lot of people coming to your website, right? So then you start to capture the database, right? So you sign, just give them a newsletter, and then you provide valuable content for them via the newsletter. You give them some coupons that if you can afford to, right? So that's the only way, right? I mean, unless you are very creative and then you can come up with a content that goes viral, this is the only option. That's the bitter truth, right? But while you're doing that, you have to be mindful of capturing that database, be it an audience via cookies. Thanks to Google, we have 2 more years. And then be it emails, be it app installs, right? So you capture all that. That's your database, and that's your funnel for the next few months or few years, right? So yeah.
Very practical tips, Ravi. Sell first and build your database along the way, right? And these are actual customers that we're having. Okay, the questions are coming in hot and fast. I think we can only take 2 more with the time that we have. Kiam Wong has a question. Which upselling strategy is better? Okay, his first option is to sell the initial product at the lowest profit just to get the attention, right? And then mark up the profit for the next product buy. So the profit comes in on the second item. So the first item is a loss leader, and then the second item is where you regain your profit. Or you mark up a bit higher for the first item, and then you upsell with the more you buy, the more you save. So the profit is reduced for the second item, but the overall volume, the basket is higher. It's a fantastic question. What do you think? Sell low first, loss leader, and then gain risk the second product? Or do you make your money on the first product and then share the cost reduction on the second product?
I mean, okay, I'll just quickly share my thoughts on this. I think, Julia, this depends also, right, on what kind of, what kind of category you are in, right? What kind of comparative products do you have? What does value look like to the customer? And the thing is, in today's age, right, customers, we already know, are super savvy, right? They're able to create those comparisons. And absolutely, you're right. You might hook them in and you might make them buy that first time, but it won't really result in, in something. That relationship won't be a long-term thing. That's what I feel. So I think you need to balance it off, right? It has to be the right value, and then it's fine. I mean, you want to offer an additional incentive even on the first product, right, to hook them in. That's okay, but it cannot be too too much off the average, basically. So it has to be within limits where the customer actually sees value in both product number one and then also in the upsell itself. So I think both can work depending on what kind of category you're looking at. And again, testing is the only way to know, right, what kind of customers do you have as well. So I mean, it's hard to give one right answer that this approach versus that approach is right or wrong, I guess. So
I think it works especially well if your products are proprietary, right? Or if you have some sort of exclusivity on those, then you may have a better comparison. But A/B testing, got it. Okay. Rachel has a question. How do you, back to our database, how do you organize and manage your client database, and what process do you use for your marketing plans in order to promote your products and services?
Okay, so I can take this. How do I organize my database? It's like a very technical question at the moment, because we have huge database and we manage it in cloud. We are building our own virtual CDP, a customer data platform. And what we were doing is you have an initial customer profile, and then you add more and more attributes to it as you know more about the customer. If you think about it, our customer profile might look like someone who flew from X to Y, and someone who searched for this destination, right? Someone who booked us before. That if that's the primary key. Now we're adding more. Someone who bought this food, so they might like this food, so they like this cuisines, right? Someone who bought this beauty product, someone who bought hotel, who stayed with us. So the more information you get, the customer profile will expand, right? And your marketing plan for us, the marketing plan at the moment, with the amounts of dollars that we have in the bank, so for marketing, so it goes, the priority is again reaching out to our own customers first, and then figuring out if that size of clicks or eyeballs is enough for us to generate those sales. If not, then I'm gonna give more, then I'll expand it to the other channels, the paid channels that gonna give us the additional traction that I need. And at the same time, I'll try to exclude the users who are in the paid in my database already, because then I can reach out to them through a different way. So this paid channels will give me that exposure to new customers who might just sign up for this product, and then they might be part of my database again, right? So that's how I look at it. I'm not sure if I answered that question in detail, but that's how I look at it.
I think the database is important, but also what's important is what you do with it, the segmenting and filtering of the information so that you can use it at the relevant points, right?
Correct. I mean, for a big organization like us, right? So the database is huge. I mean, we use GCP, the Google Cloud, to store all the data, and then the segmentation might happen based on queries or based on some visual tools. But for if you're talking about SMEs, that you have a small database, you have a lot of tools that offers you to store the database and segment it using a GUI, and you don't have to know querying and all that, right? Which makes it simple for that.
Correct. So a key point is whatever works and really getting to know your customers.
Correct.
That's data. All right. So that's about all the time that we have today. Thank you so much, Zeeshan and Ravi, for your time and your sharing today. Really insightful. And I'd like to thank the audience for all the great questions as well. Back to you, Laureen.
Thanks, Julia. And of course, we would like to thank you for a phenomenal session. I thought you were so professional and so eloquently spoken. And to Zeeshan and Ravi, thank you so much for all the practical and relevant advice. I think we could all really use it at this point because, times are so uncertain. And if anything, any advice is good advice at this point. So thank you so much for that. You guys, let's say thank you to them in the chat right now. Let's give them a virtual round of applause. You can type in clap, clap, clap. You can just, put an emoji with your hands doing that. But once again, on behalf of Experts Malaysia, thank you to the three of you, Julia, Zeeshan, and Ravi. I hope you have a wonderful day ahead, and feel free to stay on with us for the rest of the day. And I believe we have a few more questions, which we maybe didn't have time to answer because a steady stream of questions are coming in. So if you could answer that once I let you off screen, that would be wonderful. But till then, I'd like to thank you once again.
Thanks, Laurie. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Exabytes. Grow your business online.